Hi everyone, and welcome to the Franchise Tag. This is a new show that we're going to be doing every Sunday for you. So this is the preview show, something that we're going to put out every week, somewhere on a Sunday. It's going to be really quick, easy, just going through the games, who we like, what we like, and who our favourite games for the day is going to be, and things like that. So nothing complicated. We're going to get straight into it. So first of all, we've got Andrew and Ash with me to go through them. So I'll tell you what, we'll throw it over to Ash first because I know that she's desperate to talk about this game. So Ash, what is your favourite game for this Sunday's game for today?
So surprisingly to some people, I haven't chosen the Packers Saints game. I have moved over to the Washington and Chargers game. And I think primarily I have picked it more because I've got quite a lot of people from these two teams in my fantasy lineups. And I also play a lot of DraftKings as well. So I've got a lot of players. So this is a game I'm actually just going to be really keen and interested to watch. But as you guys already know, I'm a big fan of this Washington team. I genuinely have good hopes and good feelings that they're going to make the playoffs again and they're actually going to dominate. So I'm just excited to kind of watch them play, see what their defense is like as well. They are going up against a really good Chargers team. It's not going to be kind of a one-sided game at all, I feel, in this matchup here. But the one thing I'm going to be real keen and interested on is the Justin Herbert, Ryan Fitzpatrick QB matchup on this. For example, like Justin Herbert, I think he came off an amazing kind of rookie season last year, put up some great stats, great scores and everything. But then you've got obviously veteran Fitzpatrick on the Washington team, who, I do get he's a bit 50-50, I think. I think I read somewhere as well that he just completes about 55% of his passes on third downs and stuff. So, there could always be a bit of a hit and miss when it comes to Ryan Fitzpatrick. But this, again, I personally believe is the best team that Ryan Fitzpatrick has been on in terms of kind of weapons that he's got, kind of on the offense for him. So I'm really excited and interested to see what happens in this matchup, which starts in a few hours. I can't believe it. We're here. Sunday Night Football is back. I'm so excited.
What do you think, Andrew? Do you think it's Washington that's going to take it?
It's a really interesting game. Well, I think the most interesting thing about that game is the last year's offensive rookie of the year against last year's defensive rookie of the year. So I think you're going to go with whichever one of them steps up to year two. I think that's where your win is going to come from. I think it's literally down to that much. It's down to the wire. The Washington football team are progressive, but the Chargers offense looked formidable. But for me, it's their first year that their defense looks like it's stayed healthy through the off season. So I think that might play into a factor. It's in Los Angeles as well. So for me, it's tipped towards the Chargers. I think their roster on a whole just looks better than Washington.
It's interesting you say that because at the moment...
Interestingly, though, I have got...
Sorry, go on, Ash.
Sorry, I'll let you carry on. I was just going to say, actually, I literally just pulled up an injury report for the team. And it's actually, so Washington have only got one player so far. This could all change. Obviously, it's right up until the last minute and stuff. But what I can see is that the Chargers have got 4 people currently on injury, and Washington only have 1 in wide receiver Curtis Samuel. I don't think that's going to be a massive miss for the Washington football team at all. But as well, slates, though, that I've kind of come across, I've seen more people betting on Washington to win than to lose. People have got Washington to win by a fraction. I think the smallest one I've seen is like 1.5 points and stuff. But the one that I'm looking at here puts Washington at 27 and Chargers at 23. So I just have a sneaky feeling this is going to be in Washington's favor, but it's not going to be one-sided. Nobody likes kind of a one-sided football game. It's got to be exciting, something good to watch and stuff. And I think this is just a great one to kind of start things off with.
Yeah, I think what's quite interesting, I mean, I tend to use Bet365 for a lot of my betting odds. It's interesting that you say that. A lot of them do tend to have it about 1.5 in Washington's favour. You do wonder if that is just purely because they're the home team, or whether there's actually something a bit more behind it. But yeah, they do seem to be going down that route. Andrew, what is the game that you are looking forward to today?
The one that, when you look at betting, and obviously betting's been a big topic lately, the one that I'm really 50-50 and that really don't know who to choose from in case it ruins my ACCA is the Browns versus the Chiefs. I think it's really, really interesting because obviously the Chiefs, everybody expects to come out and be absolutely incredible like they always are. But they're going up against a Browns team, which last year, was 11-5. Kevin Stefanski got them going. I think they've improved their roster from what it was last year. And I think the Chiefs roster, despite the fact of bringing in a plethora of incredible O-linemen from all sorts of teams, I don't think the team is as strong as what it was last year. And then when you narrow it down to looking at the depth charts and the players, I think it comes down to the fact that I think the Chiefs have only got a better quarterback and a better tight end. I think apart from that, I think the Browns team has better running backs, better wide receivers, better special teams, and the defense of the Browns this year looks really dangerous. Freddie mentioned it in the show, what he was looking forward to. And I think that Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett combo is going to be lethal. So I'm predicting this one to potentially be an upset, and the Browns take this one because I think they've still got a chip on their shoulder. People still doubt them. So I think that's a dangerous place for them to be, especially week one. Like I say, the Chiefs have got a lot of new members on that O-line, whereas the Browns have kept a lot of their existing players from last year. So I think there could be an upset on the cards in that game.
Yeah, I think almost like being the bit of the gambler that I am, it's one to definitely avoid. It's not one to really get involved in because, you feel like the Chiefs are this amazing team and they've certainly improved that O-line. That's going to be a massive help to them this year. But the Browns are a team that I think most of us on here have all come out and said we're, hoping that they're going to do really well this year, and that they've, from where they've come from when they went 0-16 just like 5 years ago to where they are now, it's a completely different situation for them. So I think it's a really difficult one to go for, and because of that, I wouldn't be going anywhere near it. So I'm going to ask Ash what she thinks rather than me.
I personally if Baker Mayfield, if he starts out strong, if he has a great couple of weeks, for example, I see the Browns kind of storming the field on this, to be honest. I agree with you. I think they have great weapons on their team, especially their running back combo. It's one of the best, personally, that I think there is. So I think it'll be really exciting. And to be honest, I'm always kind of rooting for a team to kind of take down somebody who went to the Super Bowl last year anyway. So, if the Browns come out, I personally think they're going to nab this one as well. Again, it's going to be a tough game. I don't see it kind of leaning in kind of in anybody's particular favor or it kind of just being a one-sided game here either. But I do have I'm just trusting my gut on this. I'm putting my money on the Browns for this one, which I've got a little bet on them anyway. But I think it's going to be a close game again for this one.
So for me, when I was looking through them, I was expecting Ash to go for the Packers, I must say, but I didn't even think about going for them because of that. Although I do think it'd be an interesting game. So the one that I went for was the Dolphins at the Patriots. So the reason I've gone for that is, first of all, it's a division game. It's at the Patriots. The Patriots, I think, are going to be a lot better than what they were last year. That defense is severely got a lot better now because of them opt-outs coming back. So I think that's going to be massive for them. Obviously, no Cam Newton, which I actually think is probably going to be a positive in the long run for them, and also a positive this year because Mac Jones is going to open up that run game a bit more. He's going to be more willing to throw the ball, which Newton at times was a little bit not willing to do. So I think that'll be really interesting for them. And also they've got the Dolphins there, who are a team who, last year, great defense, had some good attacking options, look like a team that are really going to do well this year. And when you looked at I look at it as in the betting, but when you looked at it to win the division, they're very equal. A lot of people have got them quite close, to be close come the end of the season when it comes to what their records are going to be. And I think, Tua hasn't had a lot of time to play. Mac Jones obviously hasn't played yet, so it'd be really interesting to see him and how he does. So I think there's two teams that are very, very similar. The fact that they're both there, they're both having the ability to become playoff teams and get better, I think will be really interesting from day one to see how they do. So that's probably the one that I think would be good to watch. I mean, how do you personally? I think the Patriots are probably going to take it but I think it's going to be very close. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you with what you're saying. I think I said in the off season before we had the preseason games, before the Mac Jones stuff, that Patriots no one's really been talking about them. They've slipped under the radar a little bit because people don't think their roster's anywhere near as good as it used to be. But I think they're going to be sneaky, really, really good. Like you said, a lot of opt-outs coming back in. That defense is going to be strong. And then when you talk about the run game, for me, I know you guys may not have watched a lot of the preseason, but those 4 running backs that the Patriots had during the preseason, all 4 of them looked really, really good. They all had great preseasons. I think the rookie that they got, who's 4th string at the minute, was it Ramondre Stevenson? I think he was probably one of the best during the preseason. And then you've got Damian Harris, James White, and JJ Taylor equally as complimentary. And I think that's just going to really assist with Mac Jones not having to push too hard and do too much. They're going to give him a simple playbook because the wide receiver talent isn't quite there yet. So I think you're right. I think no one's expecting the Patriots to light up the world, and I think that's a dangerous thing. Whereas the Dolphins have got a cloud of expectation now to move to the next level. So for me, I've got the Patriots as well.
Yeah, same. I do have the Patriots to kind of take this. My only thing is, if the Dolphins do come out and if they do shut down the running game, it's going to force Mac Jones to actually throw the ball. And I think we're going to see, if Mac Jones can turn up. I know, he had a great kind of preseason, great training camp and everything, but now these games count. Like these wins and losses, these actually count. So I think the pressure is going to be there. And I think he's definitely got what it takes, but it's going to be interesting to see, what he can do if that running game does get shut down, if he's got to throw the ball, to a wide receiving core that, it's not 100% my favorite, but, I don't think it's abysmal or anything. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I do have the Patriots taking this. Again, though, like all of our games that we've chosen and stuff, I don't think it's going to be a kind of a one-sided game either. I think this is going to definitely be another close one. Whether it's high scoring though for this game in particular, I'm not sure, but I do think it's going to be close.
Yeah, the one thing I would say about Mac Jones is I feel like he was always given the tag that he's NFL ready. So that's the one thing that I think because of that, we will see whether or not he actually is. But I think that there's a strong chance that he will be able to do a lot. After that, so now that we've gone through our main games, just to go through the early games, how do you feel Steelers against the Bills? Any opinions? Who do we think? Do we think that Freddie's going to be depressed by the end of the early games?
Oh, I don't know. Again, another tough matchup. Oh my God, sorry, Freddie. I would love the Bills to win. I'm all over Josh Allen this year. I really do believe he's going to get MVP. I think he's such a front runner for it. But, oh goodness, I don't know. I mean, the Steelers defense, they are great. Oh goodness, I don't know which way to kind of call this one, actually, to be honest with you. Going through kind of my little bets and stuff that I do on my accumulators and stuff, this was actually like one that I've kind of been really 50-50 on. And, we've still got time. I could always go back in and change my mind on it. But at the moment, I do have the Bills to take it.
So a lot of the bookies have got the Bills as 6-point favourites. So they're fairly strong on them. So now, Andrew, I know you like to always turn the knife in on Fred. So would you? Yeah,
I've got a bit of a love for the Steelers. I mean, they've been such a good dynasty over the years. But it comes down to two things this game, really, because I think the Bills have improved their team dramatically. I think they are real strong. And when you look at their schedule, it is hard to look where their losses are going to come this season. The Steelers, on the other hand, could be a 50-50 team that I think they're going to either blow teams away and destroy them or look bang average and lose. I think it depends what team you're going to get that turns up. But that offense of the Steelers looks incredible this year. I really like it. Whether their O-line's up to the challenge is going to be another question. But I think Najee Harris adding into that mix of those wide receivers and tight ends, and they've got baby Gronk now, it just improves even more all the time. That for me looks like it's so talented, so it could win a game. The defense is something we never usually say and is the poor point for the Steelers. But I think they are not as strong as they've been in previous years. But on the flip side of it, the Bills, like I said, great across the board, but no running game. It was their issue last year. It was their downfall last year. It's why they didn't get to the Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl or anything like that. It's the main reason. No running game. And I think if you haven't got a running game against these Steelers, I think you're going to struggle. So this could be a win for the Steelers, I think. It could be one of the few losses that the Bills might get.
Yeah, I think this is another one a bit like the Browns and the Chiefs. It's a really tight call. I actually think the Bills would probably take it, but I think the 6 points is quite high. But to me, I think the Bills, like you say, all round really good team. And I don't know with Big Ben. I worry that he's not going to be standing come the end of the season. So I think that they might struggle. Maybe because it's the first game here, be okay, but you just never know. Moving on, we've got the Cardinals at the Titans. Andrew, who do you think's taking that one?
For me, I've got to keep this one nice and sweet. I don't overly rate the Cardinals. I'm not a huge Kyler Murray fan, despite the fact they've got some really good, talented players. I think the Titans Derrick Henry's just too much of a force. And when he isn't a force, AJ Brown steps up, and they've got Julio Jones now as well. So I really like the Titans. I think they're underrated, and they've come into the season underrated as well. So for me, I think they're going to edge it. I think they are the better team in this game.
Ash?
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the Titans' overall team roster and stuff more than the Cardinals anyway. What I do think, though, is that if the Cardinals do come out swinging and if they are, 10, 15, 20 points up during that first half, my worry is that I don't think the Titans will use Derrick Henry at all. So they're going to be playing catch up. But I'm a big fan of the Titans. I do like, I like watching them as a team anyway. I think when it just comes down to that little nugget. So, I would quite like to see the Titans win. But I'm actually like this matchup and stuff. I'm not fussed either way who wins or loses actually in this one. If you get what I mean at all. I'm not, crying myself to sleep tonight over this game. But yeah, no, I do take the Titans winning this one personally.
Yeah, I think the Titans are probably the stronger team. I agree with Andrew. I'm not a massive fan with the Cardinals and everything that's going on there. It's sort of becoming a bit of an old retirement home for some of these players that are coming in. So, I think the Titans, especially with Julio Jones, it's going to open up the run game. It's going to open up AJ Brown. I think it's going to be a win for them. Next, we've got the Seattle Seahawks against the Colts. So, Ash, who do you want in that one?
Oh, Seattle all the way. I'm 100% down for them. Big fan of DK Metcalf. I think they're going to absolutely take this one by storm. But I'm actually going to be really interested to see what happens with the Colts. They've been just a team that have, I think, just been a bit of like a mishap and stuff over preseason and with training camp and everything. I've never really been kind of too sure what's been going on with them, kind of trying to read up about them and everything. And other teams have kind of made the forefront of news and stuff. So personally, the Colts haven't been at the forefront of my radar at all. But I do like the Seahawks in this matchup anyway. I love their offense. I love their defense. I think Russ is going to kind of just bring it out swinging and stuff early doors, week one. And this is actually one of the games that I think is going to kind of lean more in one team's favor. And not be as close as the other ones that we've previously already talked about. So I've got the Seahawks taking this by a healthy margin. I'm not sure what just yet, but a healthy margin, I'll say.
I'm going to fully disagree with that. My dad is a massive Colts fan, so I'm a bit more invested in what they're doing and everything about them. But I think if Carson Wentz comes out as the Carson Wentz we saw before his injury issues, before all his problems with his head coach, I think the Colts roster on paper is Super Bowl ready. I think they've probably got one of the strongest defenses in the league.
That's a bold statement.
Wow, it's very impressive, and their run game with the mix of Taylor, Mack, and Hines is going to take a lot of pressure off. The only downside I've got with the Colts is the fact that they've lost T.Y. Hilton. So it's just whether Paris Campbell can be healthy, because if he produces anything he did like he was at Ohio State, then he's going to be impressive. Michael Pittman proved that he could be the number one receiver at that team. So if we see Carson Wentz back to his form, like I said, I think the Colts are a Super Bowl ready team. The Seahawks, despite the fact I do really like the Seahawks, I've always had a soft spot for them. Russell Wilson is one of my favorite players all time. They rely on him running around a lot and creating magic, the magician. They've got a really good player in DK Metcalf, but I think running around headlessly, trying to find some magic against that Colts defense, I think that's dangerous. The O-line has not proven to be supportive of Wilson. So I think if we see a more professional lineup from the Colts, I think the Colts could take this one.
Yeah, I think for this particular one, I'm going to go for the Seahawks, but I do feel that the Colts defense is very, very special. I mean, they really do have the ability to become the best defense in the league. I just feel that when it comes to today, we don't know how Carson Wentz is going to be, and I think that's going to be a big problem for them. And I think it might take them some time for him to adjust in Indianapolis and get used to it. I think that's probably where it'll be. But yeah, I mean, the Colts are a really good team. I feel like they're lacking a few attacking options. They've got a good run game, but when it comes to it is literally Michael Pittman, and that's it now. Seahawks, that offense is stacked with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett as well, who always gets doesn't get mentioned much. So yeah, for this game, the Seahawks, but I think in the long run, the Colts might come out as a better team. Next game we've got is the San Francisco 49ers against the Lions. Do we need to say much about this game? Anyone coming for anything different than the 49ers?
No.
I mean,
no.
Not the 49ers.
Well, I will say, though, I'll be interested to see what happens with the Lions running back situation. That is the only thing I'm kind of interested in, partly because we lost our dear friend Jamal Williams to the Lions and stuff anyway from the Packers. But I'm just interested to kind of see what happens there. I think more for maybe like a divisional matchup for the Packers anyway. But no, I think it's safe to say the 49ers have got this one in the bag.
Yeah. You're good there with the 49ers there, Andrew?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. They're actually a professional organisation, aren't they? Lions, if they do manage a victory, then I think it might be their only one of the season.
Yeah. So next, we've got the Eagles against the Falcons, an interesting one. I personally think that the Falcons will probably take this one, but I do feel that both of them are quite evenly matched. But what will be really interesting will be Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is the one thing that everyone is looking to see how he does in this game. But I feel with Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts, you've got Calvin Ridley there. I think that offense is going to do really well. And the Eagles have just looked a bit, they've got a lot of holes, a lot of problems there. And to me, it's going to be two poor teams, but I think that the Falcons offense has just got that little bit more. What do you think, Andrew?
I think it's not two poor teams. I think the Eagles are just very bang average, and the Falcons have a ropey defense.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say poor team with how good the Falcons offense looks. I think they've got some absolute weapons on that offense, and I still think Matt Ryan's good enough to get the job done himself. I think that's the swing. The offensive weapons on that Falcons team is just too much for the Eagles, I think. So Falcons for me.
Same, I agree. And I will continue to say this and put my money where my mouth is, but Falcons to the playoffs. But I do think, if this is a time where the Falcons defense can turn up against a team, I think it's going to be this one and the Jets game when they come to London. I think this is a great matchup for Kyle Pitts to come out of the gates and kind of show that he's, going to be the next best tight end and stuff in the league. I'm so excited to see kind of what he brings to the table here. But on the Eagles side, actually, I think we're going to see a lot of hopefully maybe like running game from Hurts himself at QB. And I'm going to be quite interested as well to see a bit of Devonta Smith at wide receiver, what the rookie can bring to the Eagles side of things. But I mean, last year for me, the Eagles kind of were just a bit of a disappointing team. They let me down so much in certain slates and stuff that I had. But I think this could be quite an exciting game. But I do have the Falcons taking this. As you guys have both said already, their offense is just stacked, I think. I think the fact that they have lost Julio Jones is no skin off their back at all. They've got weapons and stuff there. So I think it is just a question of not just this first week game, but actually as the whole season goes on, if their defense can magically turn up and join the party as well, this could be a great team, really. So I'm excited to kind of watch them. But yeah, Falcons to take this one.
So next up, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are at the Houston Texans, a real barnstormer of a game down there in Texas. Two teams that are struggling a lot. Andrew, who'd you fancy?
I quite like this matchup. I'm really interested in this game. I said to you prior to coming on the podcast, I'm interested in this one, despite the fact it's probably not on no one's radar to watch because neither of them are going to be contending later on in the year. I'm just really interested in this fixture because the Texans during preseason didn't look like they had an issue putting points on the board. Whereas the Jags, for me, even when Trevor Lawrence was under the helm, although he did nothing wrong preseason, they looked pretty uninspiring when it came to creating plays and getting the ball up the field, So for me, this is a really interesting one. I think I've got to go with Jags because if they don't win this, then it's going to be a tough season, I think. But I think they are the more talented team. I think they will get the win. It's just how good the Texans produced in the preseason was left a question mark. But come the real season, I think Jags have got this.
Yeah, I agree. I actually quite like this game. It's going to be really interesting to see how Trevor Lawrence, obviously number one overall pick, how he does. I think I've been kind of more interested in the whole Mac Jones story, but it's going to be exciting to see what Trevor Lawrence and stuff does. I think the Jaguars defense are going to have a field day though against Houston. As I've said, I play a lot of DraftKings and stuff, and I have them as my defense in quite a lot of my lineups, just because they are a cheap option anyway. But I think this matchup, this is kind of favorably in the Jaguars, I think, to be honest with you. And I also quite like DJ Chark, actually, as a wide receiver. Again, though, it is always an interesting situation when you've kind of got a rookie QB coming in. How have they gelled properly, kind of, off screens and off everything that we've read and watched in the media and stuff? It's all going to kind of come out on the playing field. But I do have the Jaguars taking this. But again, a close scoring game, I think, for this one in particular. I don't think, like the Texans, I think they are going to be putting up points and stuff. It's not going to be a walkover at all, even if they have been, a little bit up and down over the past few months and everything. But yeah, I think one to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be really close between the two, actually. I think it's, the bookies have got the Jags as 3-point favourites. So I think everyone expects it to be quite tight, maybe quite a low scoring game as well. But yeah, it'd be an interesting one. It'd be interesting to see how the Texans do and what they've actually got there. You know, I mean, with Tyrod Taylor being the person at quarterback, so it will be interesting to see. I think the Jags will probably take it, but I do think it'll be really close. Moving on, we've got the Vikings at the Bengals. Ash, our division rivals, the Minnesota Vikings. Do you think they're going to get a win against the Bengals?
Oh, you know what? I've got a friend who's a Bengals fan, so I'm going to root for the Bengals.
She's found that one Bengals fan.
The one. Oh God, I don't know. I mean, the Vikings, they actually, you know, they've got a good few weapons and stuff. I can't root for the Vikings though. I physically can't. So yeah, I'll be that person. Bengals to take this one. It's going to be a shocker to everybody. But what's quite interesting actually is that I've seen a lot of people actually who've been kind of put off by Jamar Chase, especially over the past couple of weeks. I'm hoping that maybe, you know, he's just had an unlucky few weeks and stuff. It's just been bad luck rather than anything in particular and stuff. But I'm going to be actually excited for this game. It's going to be cool to see kind of Joe Burrow coming back. I think he's a great quarterback and stuff as well. So who knows, actually? And I think, you know, as far as the Bengals wide receiver and kind of offense goes, they actually do have some good names and some good kind of figures and stuff with them. But the Vikings are going to be giving them a run for their money, sadly. But Bengals to win.
Andrew, do you want to give us you can give us the unbiased opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I really want to support the Bengals because I do really like Joe Burrow. I'm proper rooting for him to be a proper NFL quarterback and be there for years to come and in the mix. They've got a lot of young players I really like and wide receiver as well. But the Vikings just are way too strong. They've always been a team that's hovered around being playoff contenders every single year. I don't think they ever really dip underneath that radar. It's just whether they can get the pieces together to produce and maybe get past the first round of the playoffs. So I think the Vikings just way too strong in this game. So I think they'll win that one easy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I have to agree. It probably will be the Vikings. I just think that the run game with Dalvin Cook, it's gonna be too much for them. But you know, here's hoping. Come on, the Bengals and all that. So
miracles
you never know.
Can happen.
Yeah, miracles can happen. Right, next up we got the Jets at the Panthers. Now the Panthers, personally, I think they're going to do quite well this year. Me and Freddie both said that we felt that they were going to have a good season. They're 3.5-point favourites with the bookies at the moment. I think the Panthers will take it. I think that Sam Darnold on his revenge game against the Jets will do pretty well. So Ash, what do you reckon?
I'm really excited about this one. I do think the Sam Darnold revenge game, he's got it all to kind of prove, but also kind of nothing to lose at the same time. I'm really excited. Obviously, we've got CMC, Christian McCaffrey coming back at running back after his injury and stuff last year. Robbie Anderson and kind of DJ Moore as well. They're really high on kind of my wide receivers to watch for like my fantasy options and my DraftKings lineups and stuff as well. So I think, you know, if Sam Darnold can be the quarterback that we all want him to be, and that, you know, I don't think he got that opportunity to kind of show his full potential at the Jets actually at all. This could be a really exciting team and stuff for him. I just don't know if the Panthers, though, are going to kind of take over the Jets as much as we think they are. But I do think the Panthers are going to win this. But the Jets are going to be quite interesting and stuff to watch as well. I'm going to be excited to see what Zach Wilson does. I mean, I get surprised every time that he's not 12 years old, that he just looks so young. But I'm going to be excited to see what he can do and, you know, what he does. And I mean, he does have some quite interesting receivers and stuff for him. I'm not sure. Do we know if Jamison Crowder is playing today? I know he was still questionable. But I mean, Zach Wilson's got some good kind of weapons for him as well. I do think they'll be putting up some points, but I do have the Panthers taking this one.
Yeah, I agree with Adam and Freddie when we spoke about this before the season, said that the Panthers, for me, have gone about their business over the last couple of years. Absolutely incredible how they've built their team. That defense that they've managed to build full of youngsters, all were hits. You know, all those rookies they picked up were all hits. They've got JC Horn in the mix now. So I think that's a real strong defense and a good core of players on that. and I really like all the weapons that they've got, bar a tight end in the mix. I think they're really, really good. I think if we do see Christian McCaffrey needing to be rested or not used as much because he's not back, Chuba Hubbard is the one that I've mentioned so much for his college career. I thought he was an absolute steal. He had an incredible preseason. So I think once they're well in the lead, they're going to bring him into the game and he's going to shine through as well. So I don't see much upside from the Jets at all. I know that's probably a bit mean, but I just think they're just not ready. And the Panthers have got 2 years on them from where they were. So I think Panthers might win this comfortably.
Yeah, I have to say, I think, like I said, the Panthers, I feel, will be stronger, and it's going to take a bit of time for Zach Wilson, but I think eventually the Jets will do well there. Right, next up, me and Ash, we've got the Packers are going away to the Saints in Jacksonville. So a bit of a weird one, but there you go. Ash, what do you reckon?
So obviously, the Packers are going to take this by storm. It's going to be the most one-sided game anybody's ever seen in a week 1 slate. But oh God, I'm hoping that Jameson comes out and throws a couple of interceptions, a couple of pick sixes straight off the back, like we're all kind of used to. But the Saints are also missing a few people, actually, to be honest. But I know they have a really good team. I mean, Alvin Kamara, I think he's a great kind of running back and stuff as well. And I think, as Packers fans, we do know that sometimes we fail to shut down the running game. Yes. That is a big thing from our defense. So I'm hoping that the defense have sorted that out this year. But I think this is going to be tough. And I think obviously being on a neutral site as well, I actually don't know how that is going to go down. I don't know if that's going to affect the game or the players in any way at all. So I think that will just be an interesting kind of like side story to maybe keep an eye on. But no, of course, I'm going to have to say the Packers are taking this easy.
So, yeah, I mean, personally, I feel that they will take it relatively easily. The Saints defense is a good defense. But with Jameson there, you just don't know what Jameis is going to do. And I can't imagine that anything has really changed that much. I mean, the only thing I would say is I do feel like maybe Sean Payton's play calling might be a little bit different, might help him out a bit. It's going to be a lot of dump offs to Alvin Kamara just to sort of like slow him down and stuff like that. So I think maybe you'll find that will happen. But personally, I just feel like I don't think the neutral venue is going to be a problem. If anything, I think it's going to be a positive because I feel like being away from the Saints Stadium is a positive. So I think with that in mind, we'll do okay and take it. Not mega easily, but the betting markets have got it as Packers 3.5 point favourites. I could see them winning that and doing that. So, yeah. What do you reckon, Andrew?
Yeah, I brushed over this fixture when I went through them because I thought it was just an easy win for the Packers. I think when you look at it in depth a little bit more, we don't really know what the Saints are anymore. They're not this team that, is tough to play against, and they could beat anyone on their day because they're not the same team. You guys have said Alvin Kamara a lot. I think you might hear that a lot through the game in this game, but now they've lost Latavius Murray. He's going to be knackered by the end of this game because they've got no wide receivers left. They haven't really got any tight ends of merit that are going to stand out. So it's a one-man team. Jameis Winston hasn't really got a lot to throw to other than Marquise Callaway, who everyone's hoping has a breakout year.
Going to turn up.
So, I think it's going to be tough for that offense to get going. It's going to be all Alvin Kamara. You may as well put him in at quarterback and just let him run along. So, yeah, I think Packers, they're just too strong. They've got all their pieces back. The drama's behind them now from the off-season. So I expect them to have a great year again. And like I said, it's the last dance maybe. So expect them to come out all cylinders firing.
Right, so the final late game is the Broncos against Andrew's mighty New York Giants. We're going to go to Ash first. How do you think this one's going to go? Bear in mind, you've got to be nice. He's just above you. So
close, but so far away at the same time. Whilst I do quite like the Broncos defense, to be honest with you. I think they do have a good defense, and they do actually have some good wide receivers and stuff as well. You got like Jerry Jeudy. I'm actually quite big on him for the first couple of weeks in a couple of my fantasy lineups anyway. They could be actually quite an interesting team. It's going to be fun to see what kind of the quarterback situation and stuff is like there. I think you've got Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock and stuff as their quarterbacks at the moment. I think they could be an interesting team to watch. But then the Giants, on the other hand, I actually do quite like everybody at the moment, kind of offense and defense. I think, the Giants have got an interesting team. I honestly don't know who is going to take the win on this game, though. Maybe the Giants, and that's not just because Andrew is here with us. But God, if the Giants can turn up, actually, I think this could be a great win for them, to be honest. So I'll say the Giants, but I do quite like the Broncos defense as well. I will say that.
Go on then, Andrew.
Wow, that's one of the victories that Ash has got us having over. I think you said we were going to get 3 this year in the thing, so there's one. We started off well.
It's all downhill from here.
All downhill.
This game for me, if I take being a Giants fan out of it and look at it on paper, it's probably the 2 most evenly matched teams to come up against each other. I think both have got excellent defenses. Both have some incredible weapons on wide receiver, tight end, running back. It's just those 2 quarterbacks. I think Daniel Jones edges it on talent, but whether he can keep it in his hand or not, or whether he's just going to run around with it out here and drop it on the floor, that's going to be the deciding factor. This could be a really boring game, or it could be a high scorer. I don't know which way it's going to go. Coming into the game, I thought we might lose this, but I've got to stay hopeful and go for the victory. So I can't not say Giants.
Yeah, I have to say, I think it's going to be a very tight game. I can see both defenses completely dominating this and it being very low scoring, very tight. The Broncos are 3 points favourites. I don't really see why, to be honest. Maybe they've got the odd extra offensive weapon that maybe they think will prove the difference. I actually think the Giants are going to take it just purely because they're the home team. I think, being at home will help them with that crowd there, will make a difference. So, yeah, I'm going to go Giants. So, final Sunday night, we've got Sunday night football. We've got the Bears at the Rams as the last game. No, is it the Rams at the Bears, isn't it? Wrong
way round.
Yeah. But, yeah, we've got the Bears against the Rams. Who do you think is going to take the final one?
Go with Ash. I'll be back in 1 sec.
Okay. Ash, what do you reckon?
Rams to take this, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at kind of both teams' rosters and stuff, I'm just putting up any injury reports and stuff now to see what I can find. But I mean, the Rams, obviously, I'm going to be really cool to see what Matt Stafford does. So this is like the first proper real game that we're going to see him kind of lined up with his new team. And I mean, if you just look at the Rams' kind of roster and kind of everybody on their offense and defense, it's so difficult not to like and root for them. I think that, they've got everything in their power to be real kind of playoff and Super Bowl contenders actually this year. So I think obviously the Rams, I think are 100% going to take this. But it's going to be quite interesting to see what the Bears do as well. Obviously, I don't know if Justin Fields is going to come out onto the field today as QB for the Bears, unless something happens and he gets thrown out. It'll be exciting to see maybe what another rookie QB does. But yeah, no, I've got the Rams taking this one easily, I think.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I've got the Rams taking it quite easily. I mean, I put a little betting video out earlier for Tyler Higbee. I think he's going to be a good selection tonight. Although I've been told that because I'm a Green Bay fan, obviously I'm going to pick the Rams. But yeah, I feel that the Rams are they're Super Bowl contenders this year. But Stafford is the missing piece, and after moving on from Goff, I'd expect them to do well and win this game. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Bears have been very sensible week one in not playing Fields and putting Dalton in. I think they know that defense at the Rams is going to maul anybody. So why put your rookie quarterback in and let him get hit and people doubt him? Let Andy Dalton get smacked about a bit. So you've got a good excuse when it comes to it to say, look, we're bringing Fields in. So I think they've made the right choice there in not playing the better quarterback. Because I think they know this game, they're marking it down as a loss themselves. So I think Rams, definitely way too strong, both sides of the ball. Really like them. I think if Stafford can produce the stats that he has done in previous years, then they could be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Finally, we've got the Monday night football game. The Ravens are going to the Raiders on Monday night. What do we think? I mean, to me, even with all the injuries, I think the Ravens are a much better team than what the Raiders are. I think that Lamar Jackson will show how good he is, and also the fact that he can actually throw the ball as well, which a lot of people seem to doubt for some reason. So for me, I've got the Ravens, and I think even with the -4, I think they'll probably take that. Any other opinions on it?
No, I think the Ravens have definitely got this one in the bag. I know with the Raiders and stuff, it's I think for every season anyway that I've kind of been watching the NFL, the Raiders do seem to maybe just start off well, and then somehow for some reason they kind of just drop off. Whether it's injuries or kind of just, a loss of momentum, I'm not sure. I mean, the only good thing obviously is that, I actually, as tight ends and stuff go, I actually am a big fan of Darren Waller. But, with the Ravens kind of defense as well, they have the Raiders have players that the Ravens can definitely kind of lock down and keep out of the game. So yeah, I've got the Ravens kind of taking this one, and it's Lamar Jackson at the end of the day. He's a great quarterback. He runs the ball, which is always exciting to see from any quarterback and stuff as well when they move around. So I think it's going to be a good game to watch actually. But yeah, the Ravens are definitely taking the win here.
Yeah, I haven't got any question marks over their run game, despite losing absolutely everyone, because their playbook is designed around run first. Mm-hmm. It is a fantastic run play game book as well, and you're asking Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and Latavius Murray potentially to fit into that, who are three excellent veterans, which will slot in nicely. I think as long as if they don't revert back to saying, maybe we should be a throwing team and play their own game and stick to those short dump offs to Mark Andrews, let Lamar Jackson do his thing, use the run game afterwards as well. I think they should be fine, because the Raiders, for me, are another team that you don't know what you're going to get from week to week. And I think the Ravens are just too good on paper for them to come out and be 50-50. So, it's the Ravens for me in this one.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult with the Raiders because they are a little bit all over the place most of the time. So you never really know what you're getting, which is why I think, the Ravens in this one are just going to be that much stronger. Just quickly before we finish, I know the only news that I've had come through, Austin Eckler is going to be playing. Thank God. One of my running backs is going to be playing in our league, Andrew. And Trey Sermon's out and Zach Moss is out. So, Zach Moss not being in the Pittsburgh game, that might be a bit of a problem. But I don't think Trey Sermon was going to play much anyway, to be honest.
No, I've got my money now on Mostert now for the 49ers.
Hey, that's probably the way forward. So, sorry?
Do we know any news on OBGA yet?
Yeah, I think he's meant to be playing.
He's going to play. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they came out and said earlier, that they thought he was going to suit up. So, right. Well, while Ash goes off and spends all her money on Raheem Mostert, that's it. So thank you so much for everyone watching. Thanks for all the stuff you've been doing. Please subscribe to us on Twitter and YouTube and follow us on all the different socials. And we will be back next week for another one of these. And also we've got more episodes coming out on Tuesday and a fantasy one with Andrew. So see you soon.